respected Georgia Bulldogs took over the top spot in last night's CFP poll. And I guess the question is it the right call? And obviously, the answer is yes, right? As we've talked about plenty of times on this show, everybody wants a single metric to say, like, you know, what is it? Like, what is the metric? We need consistency, but there is consistency through a combination of metrics, right? Through eye test, through resume. And after the Ole Miss beatdown, combined with the heater that Georgia's been on really post-Auburn, maybe a little bit of a Vandy wobble. But yeah, you look at the resume, beating Mizzou and Ole Miss and the manner in which you beat them and how you beat the rest of your schedule. And they now have the combination of those different elements to rank the Georgia Bulldogs first in the country.
Yeah, I think it was, well, let me rephrase that. I know it was the right decision. And I think the thing that sticks out to me, T-Bob, is that Missouri, I think, helped Georgia's case. I mean, who would have thought at the beginning of the year that the Missouri Tigers, who were picked sixth in the SEC, to finish sixth in the SEC East, would not only be a top 10 team at this point in the regular season, but that their win over Georgia and then Georgia's win over Missouri, and then Missouri following up last week with a dominant win over Tennessee only helped support, in my opinion, Georgia's position as the number one team. So we talk all the time about, hey, you know, what's more important, when you beat the team or how that team kind of finishes the year. Both are the case here for Georgia, that they beat barely, double digits. They beat Missouri by double digits, and then Missouri falls up and dominates Tennessee, only helped Georgia a little bit more, and then in the way that they dominated Ole Miss. So the eye test and the resume for Georgia, they have both of those going for them right now.
Well, and look, let's be clear about this. A lot of people tell you that, you know, last year shouldn't matter and this year should exist independently of the other two. And, well, first off, I think that's a bit flawed in terms of process, right? Because we are trying to predict the future. And many historians will tell you that there is value to be gained in looking at past events as an indicator of future results, right? We all know about the old cliche, those who ignore history are doomed to repeat it. So you're going to tell me that I'm trying to decide between Georgia, Ohio State, and Michigan. And so I have Kirby Smart, a coach and a staff with some connective tissues on the roster that just are coming off 2 back-to-back national championships. And when you talk about Ryan Day and Jim Harbaugh, well, those teams are great. They don't have any natties. Well, of course I'm not going to completely ignore that. And of course, that's going to also score in Georgia's favor and give them a bit of the benefit of the doubt. So I think pretty much everybody's and I haven't seen pushback on that, right? So I don't want to tilt at windmills here, because I think pretty much everybody agrees that Georgia should be number one. What about the rest of the top 4? 2 and 3, Michigan, Ohio State at 2, Michigan at 3. And there was some discussion as to whether or not the Wolverines would jump over the Buckeyes now that they finally played a good game or played a good team and won that game. Do you think the committee was right to leave Ohio State at 2?
Yeah, I do. Until Michigan plays somebody in their weight class, and Penn State was a highly ranked team last week, but it's clear after watching Penn State last week and their inefficiencies on offense that that team is, and that number next to that Penn State team is more inflated because of the lack of strength of schedule, or the lack of quality teams really in the Big Ten. And so I think 2 and 3 right now, I wouldn't put have much pushback. If you wanted to change Ohio State and Michigan, me personally, I would have Ohio State 2, Michigan 3. Really, with the biggest bone that I've got to pick with the committee is Florida State and Washington. I don't understand how, with Washington's 3 top 25 wins, Florida State's best win right now is LSU, which is a good win, but that's really all they have to brag about. How in the world they have Florida State ahead of Washington right now?
Well, and it becomes more interesting because if you start to dive into the analytics, Washington's resume is as good or even better than Ohio State's, right? And yes, it is Ohio State's resume that is serving as a deciding factor between them and Michigan. So, I mean, I feel you. It is a bit of, though, I get this odd feeling where it's like, yes, I too, look, I would be mad if I was a Washington fan. Why are we still at 5? We have a better resume. Why does Oregon and Oregon State get credit for beating Utah, right? Like, Oregon's only big win is beating Utah, and they're the top one-loss team. Oregon State's only big win is beating Utah, and the second highest ranked two-loss team. And yet here Washington beats Utah and nothing happens. So I understand Washington fans being angry. However, if they win out, they will absolutely jump Florida State, right? And right now, if you're at 5, you're in the top 4. Because Ohio State and Michigan right now are basically they are Schrodinger's playoff team, right? Yeah. We don't know if the cat is alive or dead, but they're going to play. We're going to open that box. One reality will close, another will open. One of them will be in. I do think getting the 3 seed matters, though. But again, there is just no way in hell that if Washington beats Oregon State in Corvallis and then wins a Pac-12 championship, even Florida State being Louisville will not matter. Washington will jump them for the 3 seed.